For a long time, it's been my position that education achievement really comes as a result of partnership. And that is, there are many entities that play a role in shaping the thoughts, ideas, and behavior of children, as well as shaping a role in determining the extent to which they value education. And so I think something like the Education Begins at Home Act oftentimes will help parents, especially young parents who are childbearing age, who are having children. It will help them obtain a concept of parenting that oftentimes will go unmissed. For example, I'm a firm believer in discipline as a way of helping individuals to know what is appropriate, what is inappropriate, what is expected, what will happen if you do certain things, and what will not happen. But by the same token, when I say discipline, I think that too is learned behavior. It's not something that is just pressed upon a person. But if you are given the opportunity, I like to see parents who have parameters for their children in terms of enough space to really explore, to do things, but then knowing that you can't go beyond this limit, that there are limitations, and you don't want to go beyond that. So I think that education begins at home is a reality that must be practiced much more.
Thank you very much, sir. The second question that I have for you, Section H of the law provides for the monitoring of the home environment as it impacts student performance. It suggested we should start to consider what happens at home as a key component in student success. So here's the first question with that in mind. Do you believe that parents should be held accountable, similar to teachers and principals, for how their children perform in school?
Well, you know, I've always thought of accountability as somewhat like beauty. It is in the eye of the beholder. And accountability means how do we connect and form the partnership relationships that are necessary to create the most optimal opportunities and experiences, especially for children. I think if parents are helped to understand the valuable role that they play in a child's formation, development, and achievement, in terms of just simply, you know, Ms. Jones, unless Johnny is able to do certain things at a certain time, in a certain way, in all likelihood, you're not going to see the results that you're looking for. And so I come from the school of thought that suggests group development, and that family, church, early childhood activity, early childhood development. For example, I often challenge senior citizens to become consultants to young parents, not in terms of them being able to get paid, but I will often go to a senior citizen building and I'll say, look, I didn't bring any trinkets, I don't have any pot holders, but I do have some thoughts. And one of the things that you ought to do is make use of yourself by working with, and sometimes I will say, if each one of you would adopt a young parent and help provide them with the parenting skills that you developed over the years, you would be amazed at how much help you're bringing and how valuable what you're doing and your experiences have been. So I think it's collaboration and understanding and recognition that together society can do lots of things. And that if you isolate parents in one category or one group, schools and teachers in another, it's a partnership. You can't have one in reality without the other.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, in looking again at the law, what specific indicators are we hoping to address? For example, in reading Section H, it specifically talked about indicators as they relate to school readiness, cognitive, language, social, emotional development, and health. Are we hoping to start to begin to monitor what's coming out of the home before they get to the school, i.e. the school readiness piece and the cognitive and language development? Are you hoping through your legislation to begin to monitor those things before they get to the schoolhouse?
Well, what we really hope will happen as a result of this legislation is that we will increase awareness. You'll note that this is all designed to be evidence-based, that approaches and programs are supposed to come as a result of what works. I mean, what has been proven to work. And so it's not like you're establishing any kind of policing activity, or it's not like you're mandating any activity. It's always been my position that leadership is the ability to get other people to do what you want them to do, but because they want to do it. And so if you can get parents to the point where they just know unequivocally and without a doubt that they are the first teachers, they are the most important teachers, and that the concepts that their children develop, the values that they pick up, the ideas at home will be just as impactful as anything that they're going to do at school. I mean, I remember my mother, who was not what one would call educated in a formal sense. As a matter of fact, she finished the 8th grade. But she taught all of us. I had 9 brothers and sisters, and she taught us all. I mean, we would have to come, before her and read. She'd have reading sessions, or she would have spelling sessions, or she would just have these little moments where everybody would gather around and she would tell us something. Well, I never forgot that. I mean, that was a long, long time ago. But I think it was an integral part of my conceptualization of what one had to do if they were going to be successful and if they were to achieve. I mean, she also would say, if you get a B, and she'd say, oh, that's wonderful. But I guess they didn't have any A's. And so there's nothing that takes the place of this challenging, nurturing environment that the home can produce, especially when parents get a little bit of help, especially if during the early stages of development, they realize that whatever's going on right now will be impactful for the rest of their children's lives. And that's what this legislation hopefully would help us to stimulate, activate, and make real in many instances where without it.
I'm confident that it will, sir. A couple follow-ups, if I might, very briefly. I'm also an education entrepreneur. As I mentioned, I'm a member of the Education Industry Association. I own a business that does business with parents under no child in several states around the country. And we run into such aversion among parents, particularly in the urban centers, when it comes to being very proactive. I have a home-based model where we actually go to the house, regardless of where that child lives, knock on the door. We're operational 7 days a week. We'll come and service your child Sunday after church if you so desire. And we still run into resistance. What approaches would you advise that we take